Alrighty. Well, I am very excited to introduce our next speaker, Alex Moy from Speedo. As a leading swimwear brand, Speedo has been at the forefront of innovation and design in the industry for over 100 years. In fact, we have a very large team from Speedo here today. We're excited that you're all with us. And our speaker today, Alex, has had his work. It's not only stylish, but it's functional and engineered to help swimmers perform their best. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Alex Moy to the stage.
Let me get closer to the mic. Hey everyone, I'm Alex. I work at Speedo USA with the Hard Goods Design team. I am super excited to represent the #1 brand in swimming at Q-Shot World today. Moving in. So, doing a little bit of a table of contents here, a little run through. I'll kind of look at the screen here. I'm not getting a little technical difficulties here. But so I'm going to go through Hard Goods ecosystem and personnel. Then I'm going to go through the story of Speedo Keyshot, the adoption phase, the execution phase, and the future. Then a little bit of the target line, S123, that's spring. Finishing up with some closing thoughts, and then opening up to Q&A. So, Hard Goods product. That is bags, that is fins, that is anything that's not a swimsuit. So it's goggles, that is footwear. It's a wide range of product that we've got all into 3D now. So I'm excited to show a little bit more. At Speedo, the success of Keyshot is multifold. So we have used it for standard product approvals, new product creation, limited edition, and other special custom projects, marketing assets, e-com and packaging, and then most importantly, streamlined selling with our buyers and our internal channels. Success points. So it's been a hard game to get good at with Keyshot, but we're finally at a point where the ecosystem, the business at Speedo trusts the hard goods process using Keyshot. That is contrary to what was before, in the case that we would have to do 2D, get it all the way to sell in, and then finally, once it's like, all right, it's good, let's render it. No, this right now, we have it turned on its head, which is the way Keyshot should be used. So Keyshot, the render, that informs the rest of the pipeline for a given product's journey. Moving up, so some more success points in detail. Minus 7x, so it's 1 over 7 styles designed and sampled. Keyshot allows us to focus in from oversampling, overspecking, overcoloring, and let me get to it. Timeline shortened by 4 months. We get to focus on quality of good colorways, good 3D, good engineering, and moving up. Yep, good collaboration between teams and external accounts. 70% decrease in upfront tooling costs. So instead of going from a 2D Illustrator, sending that to a factory, waiting months, to come back finally with a sample, and then, nope, we don't like it, change the tool, reject, or just throw it away. That is now built out of our process. So much more sense from a business perspective to use Keyshot in this way as a proactive tool. $500,000 saved from our marketing department. They thank us every day, every time we pass them. Product detail pages. So this is the what would be up on SUSE, SpeedoUSA.com, or Target, or wherever SMU that we send these out to. It saves weeks of photo shoot time. You don't have to book a venue. You don't have to bring models in, et cetera, et cetera. This is a quick mock-up of the ecosystem at Speedo. So we have design kind of at the center with the Keyshot keys. We validate new engineering with our product developers, and then we also send CMF info to our product developers when going to production. And on the merchandising sales side, we have early buy-in based off of 3D renders, and then final external assets that make it onto product packaging and web. So here's our lovely hard goods team. We have from left to right, Tina, Emily, Nate, myself, and Ryan. That's the hard goods squad. So couldn't do it without them. This is, we run through hundreds of SKUs, thousands of SKUs in 3D. So thankfully we have a SOP created that I'm going to show you guys in a minute. And just to get a little granular, this is the architecture of our org structure. So we have 2 design engineers, 2 more senior end designers that kind of guide us when we're having questions, and then our leader Nate, fearless leader Nate. 2018 to the present. So this is going to get a little bit into the story, basically from adoption to execution, and now the success of Keyshot at Speedo. So way back in 2018, Speedo is still running on a mostly, if not 100%, 2D engineering workflow for product. So that's working in Excel, working in Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, and then moving into InDesign, good old InDesign for your deck creation. Really slow, and if you're not physically holding the product, it's a little bit removed, right? So moving up, we have in 2019 to 20, we rolled out Keyshot as our product spec vehicle. So that means anything that was color info, material info would be created a library for within the Keyshot environment. And then we would export that information out from usually a Pantone code, and then matte gloss, clear, etc. I'll show you that in a little bit. And then you know what happened over in 2020. Don't need to elaborate too much on that, but basically the stresses of COVID and the couple of years of going remote, supply chains locked up, businesses tightening up on budget. Keyshot is a great tool for us to cut past all of that, get renders out, get the trust in, and then finally we're at a place where we can start playing with the process, refining it, and even collaborating with Keyshot itself to kind of make our own future with it. So on some fateful day in 2019, my fearless leader Nate came to me, asked, "Hey, let's roll out Keyshot as the hero, as the gospel for our product detail or product spec process." I then responded, "Hey, let's do it." And Taylor, somewhere in the audience, is our trusty IT helper, was there 100% of the way. But we do need his help sometimes. So this is a little bit of an outline of the process that was laid out, and I'll get into detail in a minute. But as you can see on the left, we'll start in Illustrator. We kind of have to start from something. 2D drawings, then moving eventually into Keyshot, 3D specs, or first initial 3D models, getting the visual, moving up into Miro, X Keyshot. So we'll actually upload our renders up on Miro for product developers, merchandisers to see and start reviewing. And then eventually we'll bake them into final presentation decks toward the end. And then once the product is sold or bought in by either internal accounts or external accounts, we'll actually finalize the Keyshot mocked up BOM that we had going on before Keyshot actually had a BOM. So starting from 2D color info, importing that into Keyshot, and then from 2D drawings, getting into Keyshot for engineering evaluation as soon as possible. Then getting into a kind of live view of the Keyshot tree. That is on the left, an example of one of our specs, and then moving into a presentation with the same renders that are from the specs. Getting a little bit closer, you can see that we've built out our library to have the Pantone color info. There's some TCX code, but it's part of the Pantone family. Yeah, that's how we've had it set up. So we have our detail, typically which is I would consider like metadata, or the basically info of a given Keyshot ball that you drop on. And then that informs our product development team to pass off this screenshot basically to our factory, or a given factory, excuse me. And this is what our merchants and sales teams will see by the end of it. All right, so once it's sold, we can then actually get samples back which is part of the turning up on its head. We get samples after we sell in. This is how we would give comments back on Miro as a platform. So telling a little bit more about the COVID happenings. So once we got this process that instated that I've kind of gone over with you now, COVID basically accelerated the adoption of this process 5 times over. So what would have happened like in 5 years, got it done in 1 in the sense of adoption. So we know what this looks like. This is one of our sample reviews done in the summer of 2020. That's on the back of our building parking lot. No one wants to work like this, right? So the KeyShot really came in here and made our lives easy. And I like to think, more step, KeyShot shines, right? I would like to think that we like to call ourselves work hard, play hard folks, or play harder even. KeyShot gave us the opportunity to rest easy and play hard remote, and then play hard in person once everything leveled back out. So now I'm going to move on to a little bit of before and after. This is showing you the legacy product and then turning it into 3D. This is our Vanquisher 2.0 mirrored, one of our best goggles, the top competitive goggles. You might wear them. So you see, it's not even, there's no 3/4 view, there's no super nice touch, there's no Photoshop going on. Pretty basic Illustrator tech pack. Moving into a KeyShot tech pack. This is KeyShot, roughly started doing this around KeyShot 9, so we could kind of a little bit early on the bomb feature, but this is good enough, so we kept moving. Some of our Surf Gazer masks, you can buy these at Target. And we see these in 3D. This is our Safe Splasher. It's a children's flotation device. This is a 2D art file. Moving into 3D within KeyShot, getting our maps right. And then where necessary, we will have a C art file in the detail description. But we actually went through the trouble of getting our stock fabric, stock webbing, from a given factory. We'll actually build that out. And here it is on body. So you can see from a buy-in perspective, the trust is now there to go from here to here. Moving up. Infant PFD, art file. Now in KeyShot. And the final product. This is actually a hybrid tech pack. There's some render, there's some Photoshop, there's some Illustrator. I'm sure a lot of you guys who work in footwear are used to the myriad of tools you can do to get those side views in. But finally, we got it in 3D. That was a few years ago. So getting on to I think the meat of the program here. Our success with KeyShot really comes through when talking about our business with Target. That's the red circle Target that I know all of you have been to in the within the last month, right? So somewhere in the back of a Target, there is most certainly a Speedo aisle. This is what it looks like. Talking about 600 to 200, right? That is a crazy number to get down to, from renders to first proposal, and then back down to 200 is about what finally gets selected or picked from by the Target buyer. We use this planogram, partially built out of 3D renders, but it's ultimately 2D, but this is a wide view of what you might see on the Target aisle. Getting into the meat of it. Here we have our begin to swim. So we'll start out with infant PFDs. You've seen one of these before. No one, I will comment, I will call this out to myself. No one really wants to see a diaper in 3D, I'll be honest. So we left that one out. Child boys, or at least boys colored. So everything from our Safe Splasher, which all the art files are brought in from Illustrator, put onto a body, or put onto the bodies in KeyShot, and those have fabric texture labels applied to them. In the girls, this is our offering. So same thing, but pink. Girls colored. This is our junior and adult PFDs. And the premium PFDs, online only. So goggles is probably what you're here to see, I'm sure, today. Moving up. This is to give you a good idea of the breadth, the number of product that we render. This is just the kids. So we have everything from printed goggles. You can see there's a few that are have some in-mold films. There's some that have more novelty elements to them. So you have like your cat eyes, your gummy bears, your David Bowies, and all the way over to some mirrored masks or mirrored low-profile masks. There we go. Junior goggle collection. Still got some prints in there. Adult eyewear or adult goggle and eyewear collection. You'll notice there are a few pieces of eyewear included in this. They're part of the line. Not so. I would say not as central, but definitely one of our more fun pieces of things to work with. Dive. So some of you might have noticed this new Luca mask, or I'll say we call it the Luca mask because it looks like the Disney movie Luca. But we call it the retro mask or the Porto mask at Target. So here we go. The kids line of Dive. Junior. And adult. Moving up to footwear. We got our kids' booties, our kids' Shore Explorer, some hybrids, and the Mary Jane up left. That's a tricky one. There's the boys version. Junior, boys and girls footwear. Adult, men's and women's. Moving up to the new development. So this, we do like to do give our buyers a hero shot for new product. So here's our Porto mask. Porto mask set. The Sunny Vibe cat eye. And the new Kid Scout mask. So all this you can get at Target today. And one of our favorites, the Sunny Vibe Gummy Bear. This one's like a favorite of the design team. So I've shown you the heroes, but here's where things get interesting. Is, as I mentioned earlier, product detail renders for our e-com assets. Weeks saved on photography. We'll upload these to, we'll give it to our marketing team, which then operates a digital asset management system that then uploads it or provides it to Target to put on their website. So this year for season spring 23, we've actually built up minimum 144 assets rendered up for their website. And in a general sense, from a more broader perspective, being able to establish this system of product detail renders, it lets the design team really pick and choose and control the quality of images that move out into the world, what shots get made out, and basically what the internal and external people see. So we control this. Here is the Porto mask on the Target website. Mask snorkel, cat eye, the Scout mask, and the gummy bear. So I've reached the end of the Target. I'm very sure you're all tired of that by now, aren't you? So this is where we've been thinking Speedo X Keyshot, what is the future? So like I mentioned before, we're at a point where we're starting to play with the process. We can finally bring our heads up from the grind and actually think deep and hard on how we want to steer our use of the software, where we want to go with 3D in general, and how can we elevate or move the experience between ourselves and the Keyshot team into the future. So here we are at Keyshot World today. One of our topics of interest is adopting or upgrading into a BOM capable and PLM communicable setup for our team. We work in a software called Centric. That's our PLM, and we're often still uploading those images up to Centric, where there's tables and tables of information that I would hope there's a way to get Keyshot to communicate directly in and just plug in the materials, which sounds like that's definitely something that can be done. Data-driven CMF. So you may have noticed before, I had a bit file set up with 100 chips in it. I don't know if that was a little Easter egg, but getting a undeniably scientific color assessment. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts when you're evaluating samples, when you're communicating with people on the other side of the world. We need to be eye to eye on color. And really the best way to do that is by looking at numbers on a screen, like RGB, whatever that ends up being. There's no refuting data in that case. So we really want to get data into our basically every season we have to recreate our color libraries. So this is going to make our lives easier if that's something we really want to do. Like I said, a lot of materials, right? So this is just our mirrored lens palette. And there's about 100 on this table. And imagine doing that for, matte gloss, clear, translucent. So we are already in talks about getting a template of a script for automating material library updates and creation. We'd like to explore a little bit about expanding the Keyshot world into our soft goods department. Because we're a hard goods department, we do have the guys who make the suits on the other side of the building. We'd like to share some of the magic with them. So what you're seeing here is actually one of the Clo avatars with a mocked up swim cap that I did a little while ago. Network rendering. That's something that we would love to get going as we want to do more animations. We want to do more potentially VR or anything that requires a lot of baking, bake time, so to speak. That's something that we've got our eyes on. Instead of having, for example, when we do our target PDP grind, that's the entire team's day for 3 days, right? Plus your overnight renders. So getting a network set up, priority. Finally, moving up to playing around with our microsite, or at least a microsite potentially for internal review. Hey guys, this is what we think our product's going to look like. And we can show it to, say, Speedo's president or lead of global design and keep it in control.
Awesome. Well, please join me in giving Alex a big round of applause. Big thank you.